Hey, Mr.
Got
Lush
him.
approved.
Lush flexing it up.
Was that Lush or the Incredible Hulk on the bag? That was ripped, man.
That's awesome.
Oh man, that was nice.
Throwing down some iron on the lawn while you're pumping iron.
That extra iron and it's nice. We definitely need to get that one on the shelves.
Yeah.
What's up, guys?
What's up? It's Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, everybody.
What do we got? Let's see.
We got Jason Gooden in tonight. He actually beat on the lawn training, so congrats to him.
We have a Harry Lawn, Jason. We got who else? We
Papa
got
Moslow.
Papa Moslow.
Ambitious is in.
Homestead's here. Dave Balecki's here.
Dave in the house.
Sonny Bermuda, drunk lawn guy himself. I'm right here, proud grasshole, representing.
Got golf course lawn in here too.
Nice. Wow, we got quite a few people in.
Yeah, that's what she said.
Hope not.
All right.
So what's going on tonight, Olee?
All right. Well, I don't have my beer with me. I need to run here in a minute and grab one. But tonight we're going to be talking with John from ProPeat and discussing and checking out a different fertilizer from the other side of the world for me, but it's well worth shipping over here and using.
Man, I'm excited for this one. I'm a huge fan of ProPeat. I'm glad to have Mr. John House join us today. But you know what? Before we start, going into a little detail with Mr. John, let's go back to the basics and let's grab a cold glass and.
I got my water.
Keep off the grass.
Keep off the grass.
Off the grass.
Mark's got a big bush.
What do you guys got?
I didn't get my signature bush tonight because I cracked it before the show started. So I may have to do it mid-show. So just FYI, if I throw one in there, middle of the
farmers and of Nate, I'm rocking the bush tonight.
There you go.
Well, Olee will be back with his in a second, so he'll crack it open for you.
I think Ole's gonna grab one. He's got to work on that bush. We're working on it. So,
all right, let's get this going. Can you give a brief introduction about yourself? What do you do with the company? It's your time.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you, and thanks for having me. So. My name's John Pocock and owner of ProPeat Fertilizer. We're a new innovative fertilizer. We've just been in business about 5 years now. This is probably our fourth summer of marketing and sales. And we make what we call a carbon-based fertilizer. And we use sphagnum peat moss for our carbon source. And we bring sphagnum peat down from Alberta. And we take traditional NPK, is ammonium sulfate for our nitrogen source, and then MAP 1152 phosphate for our phosphate source, and then potash. And we grind everything up, run it through hammer mills, run the peat moss through a hammer mill. We blend it all together. You've probably seen our YouTube videos or our video of the plant there. It shows a big pan granulator, and we granulate it into an homogeneous granule. And then we add micronutrients to it, and then we dry it, cool it, and bag it. And it's a very good product.
Yeah. I've definitely seen some videos of how you guys do things there in your headquarters. It's actually pretty awesome. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of ProPeat. I'm going on my second year using ProPeat. I know some here, the folks here within the podcast also are using it. I know Olee's a huge fan of it as well. I think Brian, you started using it, Brian, as well.
Yeah. I was talking to John. There's one distributor here in Utah. We found another one, so I'll have to go there. But I drove about an hour and a half north of me just to get the one bag, the 1704 that I got, and I love it. So I'll definitely be using it more.
That was actually my first, the first fertilizer I used from ProPeat, which was the 1704. And luckily enough, it was because that's what I needed for my because of my soil test results. And you know what? I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and give it a try. And after that, it's history. Now I actually offer it in my fertilization business. It's awesome. It's an awesome product. So how did you start this company, John? What make what's your background with the lawn industry? How did it all started?
Okay, so I grew up on a farm. We grew up on a farm here in Idaho. We grow potatoes, grain, corn silage. We've got a little cattle operation, and then I grew up milking cows. So I'm a farm kid at heart. But in 1979, we got in the trucking business, and we run hopper bottoms. And Sugar City, Idaho, we're right close to Pocatello, Idaho, where Simplot has a big phosphate factory plant. And then Conda, Idaho. Conda, Idaho has the largest phosphate deposit in North America. And so that's where a lot of the raw rock phos comes from. And there's it's changed hand 2 or 3 times. It used to be Agrium, then now it's Nutrien. Now Edafos owns it. But anyway, our trucking company, we haul a lot of phosphate. I load trucks every day out of these phosphate plants, and we haul it all over the Northwest, and we haul a lot up into Canada. So through the trucking business is how, and actually Brian was talking about a company in Layton, Utah, J&J Produce. I used to haul fertilizer into them guys myself back in the mid late 80s before I started dispatching and doing other things. But it was one of their guys that went to these golf industry shows. And he and I was together one day, and he said, he says, I ran into some guys from South Africa that's making a carbon-based fertilizer. He says, you got to get a hold of these guys. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't know what I need to get a hold of these guys for. But anyway, he told them about me, and they come and visited me. And there's a guy named, if you get a minute, you can look this up online. It's called Nanturf, and it's in South Africa. And his name is Ockert Fury. And this guy eats, drinks, and sleeps plant science, just loves plant science. And he's actually the guy that invented this carbon-based fertilizer using peat moss. And he was making it in South Africa in a little town called Bethlehem, South Africa. And he imports his peat moss clear up from Ireland to South Africa to get his peat. So he has to bring his peat in from quite a ways. But anyway, he's the guy that developed this. And then what they did is they come to the US and was looking for someone to build a plant and build it. And they had actually been in talks with a couple of bigger fertilizer companies that we all know names of, but big corporate companies take a while to run through the process. They got to go through research and development. They got to budget money for it and everything. And so what I did is I said, all right, I'll buy 2 containers, send them over here, but we've got to test this product first. So I shipped 2 containers from South Africa into the port of Houston. We brought them up here to Idaho. We tried some on corn, tried some on potatoes, and then they shipped bags, and I shipped it to golf courses all over the United States. And, just for trials. And there was a particular gentleman, he works for Winfield, and you guys probably heard of Winfield, or Winfield Pro.
Yep.
And he won't care if I use his name. Pat Neindorf is his name. But anyway, he's a salesman for Winfield in Houston.
He gets, I buy my stuff out of him.
Okay, so you know Pat. All right, great guy.
Small world.
So Pat is the guy that kind of responsible. So we got it in, we had good results. And of course, I'm trying to make a decision. Do we build a plant? Do we make this product? And Pat calls out of the blue, and he says, and I didn't know him, he didn't know me, and he says, are you gonna I hear you're gonna make this, and keep in mind, back then we called it carbon complex, I believe is what Ocker called it in South Africa. And so we didn't have a name. We come up with the name ProPeat. That's us. In South Africa, I think Ocker calls it carbon complex, but it's the same thing. Anyway, he says, are you going to make this carbon complex? And I said, I don't know. And he said, hey, you got to do it. This stuff works. And so Pat's the guy that kind of pushed us over the edge, and we decided to build a plant. And from there, it's all history. But we're trying to get it up and going, and hopefully we can get enough sales here. It'll make some money one of these years, but it's good. It takes a while. It takes a long time to get market share and get going. But, interesting enough, about 95% of the people that try it buy it again.
Nice. Man, small world. I know Pat. I text with him every single day. I didn't even know that you guys had a connection. That's pretty nice.
Hey, John, a couple people in the chat are curious about distribution. I know you guys are on Home Depot. We talked a little bit about some other stuff last night, but some of these East Coasters, Midwestern people, what's your guys' distribution plan moving forward?
So we have been actively trying to find, a box store to carry our product. Home Depot has stepped up. You can buy it online through Home Depot, and it's kind of nice. It'll get delivered to your doorstep. That's in 25-pound bags. And then Winfield, you go to Winfield Pro, and they have a website. What we do is we ship bags to Oklahoma City, and then they box it there and ship it out. And so there's 2 different online sources that you can buy it. Right now, we have some distributors in the West. There's, of course, you have J&J Produce in Utah, Spokane, Washington. There's a company called Planet Turf. And then Winfield is in the Washington, Oregon coast. They're heavy into Texas, Michigan, but they're more into golf guys, not the do-it-yourself type people. We just recently got into DBC, so they're in Denver area, and they're carrying it in stores. And then I was telling Brian last night when he was getting things set up, it's Menards. It's like a Home Depot and a Lowe's. I have been in talks with them, and they said they would let me know in July. I've submitted pricing to them and everything, so I hope Menards will take it here for next year.
Yeah, Menards is pretty big in the Midwest, so that'd be a real good one.
Yeah, so I'm working with them. Hopefully we can get a deal cut with them.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Hey, John, there's some other questions coming in from the chat too about, what does it actually mean to be, a carbon-based fertilizer, right? What does that actually mean, especially with, with your product and other products? That seems to be kind of a trend that's happening now, is to get carbon into a fertilizer product. So, what does it mean to be carbon-based, and what are sort of the benefits of that over other types of fertilizers?
Okay, so what's happened is our soils, we've farmed our soils, right? And they're short on carbon, and carbon is real important to a plant's health. Now, if you're in the state of California, you think carbon's a bad thing, right? So that's a whole different deal over there. But they're talking about a different kind of carbon. But anyway, our soils are short on carbon, and what you guys have all heard of, and I've told Olee this before. You've heard of like biochar. That's pure carbon, right? 100% carbon. And biochar is not bad. There's nothing wrong with biochar. But what you do when you get a biochar carbon is you take a wood or a coal or a coke, you got to heat it to a couple thousand degrees, and then you come up with carbon. And it's 100% carbon, but the problem is everything's dead in it. You've cooked it to 2,000 degrees, it's all dead. Our carbon that comes from peat moss still has live microbes in it, and it has microbial activity. That's what makes the nutrients transfer to the plants quicker. So we bring in this peat, and we run it through our dryer. We only run our dryer to suck the moisture out of your granules, so you have a nice dry granule. We run at 180 degrees, sometimes 200. We try to run that as low as possible to get the moisture sucked out, but yet keep live microbial activity. And then, so that's the difference in carbon. And then in the use of carbon in ProPeat, think of it as your kitchen pantry. So you're going to go to your kitchen pantry and cook dinner, right? So you just go and get all your ingredients. The nutrients gets locked up, ties up with the carbon and the peat, and then it makes for a natural release. So ProPeat is like a slow release urea, like a poly-coated. You've seen these poly-coated ureas and all that. You've probably seen on our website, we outlasted all the poly-coated ureas, the University of Florida, done all the tests. And ProPeat outlasted all of them with a natural bond to peat moss. But what happens is, so it's not and when I say a slow release, it's not true. It's a natural release because the plant can take it as fast as it needs it or as slow as it needs it. The plant can take the nutrients at will. Where when you have poly-coated ureas, you have to wait for that polycoat to dissolve. And heat, cold, wet, dry all affect a poly. So you never really know when that nitrogen gets released. So if you have any other questions, does that explain that part of it for you?
That's you nailed it.
Yeah.
That's a great example for, there's a lot of companies out there that offer that. But you're taking it to a whole new level. Man, that's pretty awesome. That's pretty you heard it, guys. Carbon is very important, and ProPeat has it.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
And I think that you also hit on a lot of other things that your product, a lot of other offerings that your product has, right? So I mean, that was excellent.
I know. Some of the bags you guys don't mention micronutrients, but you guys have the micronutrients in almost everything, in almost all the lineup, no?
We do, and I'll tell you why. And it was a mistake. So you got to realize we're farmers at heart, right? We just got into the fertilizer. We're farmers and truckers, and we just got into the fertilizer business. So we didn't realize when we went to do registrations. So registrations is a huge deal. I have a lady in California that we pay. We have to register our products in every single state, and every single state has requirements for labels. So for example, I mentioned California a minute ago. So like some of the bags you guys see, it says carbon 90 plus. What that means is it lasts for 90 plus days. Well, the state of California made us take carbon off the bags.
Really?
So just to tell you what kind of a heartache we go through for labeling. So when we added our micronutrients, we come up with our formula. Well, the formula for the amount of micronutrients we put in wasn't enough. It wasn't required to put it on the bag, and we thought at the time, oh well, no big deal. Well, then we found out it is a big deal because users like you want to know what's on there. So a year later, we've developed our 1111. You've probably seen our 1111 bag. So we upped all the micronutrients a little bit. So then it's legal to put it on the bag. So and we bought like 40 or 50,000 bags when we bought our bags. When we run out of our bags, the bags that you see now, and order new bags, we will change our recipe. We'll add a little bit more micronutrients, and we'll re-register them and put them on the bags. But that's the reason why you see some without. It's because of registration restrictions. And like I say, we didn't know that going into it till we.
How many 1704 bags do you got left?
I don't know what.
You know where I'm going with that, don't you?
Yeah.
We got to get some iron in there, boy. Then we're gonna kill it.
Yeah,
it would be good with
iron. Are you going to use those Mr. Lush bags in the future?
So was your process of adding micronutrients in it the same way as you were adding your NPK? I mean, is there a different process when you say you add the micronutrients in it?
No, it's the same way. So the micronutrients. So what we do is we blend the micronutrients together in a mixer. We pre-blend it in a blender. I shouldn't say a blender, a mixer. And so then micronutrients are all together. And then we have it's called a LACO system, fertilizer system, that blends everything together. It drops the micronutrients in it. So it actually, if I'm making a 1358, this LACO, it's all computerized system. It'll make 1358, drop the micronutrients in it, and then it goes to the hammer mill to all get grinded. So the micronutrients get pulverized with the NPK and the peat. So the micronutrients are in every single granule also. I should have brought an example. When we go to golf industry shows or when we do shows, we'll take a little cup of fertilizer, traditional fertilizer, and you'll see the green prills, the red prills, the white prills, and then you scatter that all over. So when you scatter that on your lawn, you're going to have a white one here, a green one here, a red one here. Red or gray is potash, depending on where it comes from, Utah or Saskatchewan.
We want that gray potash.
Gray potash, all right. And then but it gets scattered all over the place. But in ours, see, it's in every single granule. It's a homogeneous granule. So there's NPK micronutrients in every single granule. And that's the advantage of ProPeat.
That's so awesome.
So you, one time me and you had a talk, about this product. And basically, I remember us talking, so there wasn't a real big need for any humic acid with this product because of the carbon levels.
Because peat is a natural humate. So there's already humic in it.
So you're saving money right there.
Yeah, it's already adding to your soil. It's already a conditioner for your soil right there.
Look at that.
Yeah. And speaking of the peat, I've seen some articles that it can raise your pH or lower your pH in your lawn. How does your peat, does that have any effect on your lawn soil, your soil pH?
You would have to put a lot of it on for a lot of years to change your pH. And we actually add I'll call it a secret ingredient to balance our pH in our fertilizer, if you can believe that. We have a coat of it, and it's actually gets sprayed in the blender.
Nice.
So like a buffer kind of.
Secret ingredient.
It's not Bush Light.
Yeah, I mean that would balance out your pH all day right there.
Hey, so real quick intermission for those guys in the live chat. We're going to do something a little different tonight that you guys probably aren't used to, but we are actually going to start doing a giveaway now instead of waiting till the end of the show. Right now. So we talking to John last night, and he's pulling out all the stops, and he said, you guys have a good following, so why don't we give away 5 bags of fertilizer tonight?
Dang.
We got 56 right now. We have 56 watching right now. How many likes we got?
We got 38 likes
38.
right now, so we can definitely do a few more.
We better get that up there. Up there.
So anything that's available on the Home Depot website, is that correct, John?
Everything's on there available. Yep.
Everything's on there.
So if you have a winner, just have them message you or whatever blend they want, and we'll just ship it to them. They just pick on there what they want.
Yeah.
Salisbury, North Carolina.
Definitely. Olee's address.
7414 all day long.
All right, so we're gonna break it up a little bit throughout the show, though. We're not gonna do all 5 right away. So for those in the chat right now, if you want to be entered in to win a bag of fertilizer, there'll be 5 different winners. Type in the word ProPeat in the chat, and I'll take down the names. And throughout the show, we'll just kind of quickly interrupt and maybe do another giveaway here and there. But we got 47 likes, guys. That jumped up pretty quickly. So
48.
We'll get
climbing. Thanks, everybody.
So,
I think it would be an interesting concept, Brian, if the drinking game word of the night was what we had to type or say to be entered. So if we got 30 people that want to win a bag, and we're all typing that I guess everyone's taking like 30 drinks, right?
ProPeat, yeah.
So
Man,
Better start sipping, drunk
crazy.
one guy.
Look at the comments. They're going crazy.
I'm good.
It's
Oh, wait,
yeah.
I wanna show- we can't show that later.
drunk
Wow.
one guy.
Ready to go. Let's go.
John, you should see this right now, man. Honestly.
I did like
Drunk
drunk
Lawn
long
guy.
guys. His
Do,
idea was. Oh, go ahead,
Sorry,
man.
Hey,
No, I was
John.
gonna say his idea was that any innuendo that he hears, we're gonna drink, and so
There's a lot of those.
Well,
I was just gonna say, unless I'm missing this, we're at 499 subscribers, so we just need one more for 500.
Yeah.
This is a big night.
Yeah, that's true.
Perfect
big
giveaway.
night. Big night. We're getting there.
Hey John, if you
Um,
want to, while I'm collecting names and all that kind of stuff too, you talked about that fossil stuff last night. I don't know if you want to go a little more into that tonight, kind of blow people's minds.
I can mention that if you want to. So I was telling Brian last night when we was doing the test run here that we have just developed an organic rock phosphate. Building this ProPeat plant and having a pan granulator's opened up some opportunities. And we've been custom granulating some silica. It's a volcanic ash, comes out of Montana. It's an organic product. And, anyway, I've got two chemists helping me. One's traveled, well, both of them's traveled all over the world doing consulting, and they're partners in this fossil. It's PHOSUL, fossil.com, and it's an organic rock phosphate. And we have some really neat results. Montana State University's been doing some studies for us. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to try to make an organic ProPeat. I've been importing some Chilean nitrate. Comes from Chile. It's sodium nitrate, and then I can get OMRI approved MOP or SOPs potash, and we're going to try to make a homogeneous granule.
Look at that.
Oh, I love the sound of that.
Yeah, buddy.
Gonna change the whole. I'm a huge fan of silica.
Yep, me too.
I've been looking into adding that into my program, and man, I can't wait.
So if you want some silica or silica, look up Montana Grow. And
well, Mr. Brand is a fan of them.
Brent.
That's it.
You have
I've been using Montana Grow for 2 years.
Really?
I love it. I've been preaching. I preached it last week. We were talking about disease resistance. I was preaching about silica and disease resistance and also wear and tear resistance on turf grass. Research that I read, I've been using it for 2 years. So as soon as you said that, John, I was like, all right, that's what I want to hear. And I'm big into trying organic and as natural products as I can. I mean, obviously I'm still using herbicides and still using, some stuff, but I want to try to keep that to a minimum as much as possible for the kids and the dogs and stuff like that. But I love it. It's amazing.
So your Montana Grow, if it's granulated, it got granulated at the ProPeat plant. So
okay,
we've been farm for a couple of years. Nobody really knows that, but
now they do.
Okay, now they do.
But yeah, we've been.
I love it.
So we have silica. We have Montana Grow in this fossil product. So it's a neat product. But
yeah, those prills for that Montana Grow, if I remember right, Brent, you should showing some pictures. Mm-hmm. It looks kind of like ProPeat. Actually, it's all together.
It does. Yeah. And we don't have. The only reason I've never tried ProPeat is because we don't have it. We don't have a distributor locally over here on the East Coast.
We got to work on that.
I'm in the greater New York area, North Jersey. We don't have a distributor, so I would need to buy that and have it, sent out to from Home Depot. And
hey, Brent.
How
many people in your neighborhood you think you could get together, maybe buy a pallet and split it up?
I got me, I think, in my neighborhood.
Oh, man, you got to meet some more people. That truck dominate right up in front of your house.
Going back to I think what a lot of DIYers that are watching are more excited, are more into ProPeat due to the fact that the green straight prill size is by far one of the best ones that I've seen. What makes your prill size different than other companies, right? I know the answer, but I want for the viewers to know the difference. And like I said, I'm a huge fan of the greens grade, especially because you get a more even spread.
And a quicker pop.
I have better control of that. I can even use my handheld spreader, and you get an awesome, an awesome spread throughout the whole lawn. So what, like I said, what makes you guys different from other companies when it comes to that?
So what we do in our process is when we make the ProPeat product, it goes through our dryer and cooler, and then it goes through a sizer. And what we did originally, I mean, 4 years ago, I'd had never thought in the world that I'd be talking to do-it-yourself grass guys. Does that make sense? We thought we was going after the golf industry, which we are and which we do, but it just never crossed my mind that I think our do-it-yourself business is every bit as big as the golf industry now. But back to your question, what we do is we go through and we run it through a sizer, and we make greens grade for the golf industry. And that's what that's for, is putting greens. So they can put that small granules on there, water it in 5 to 10 minutes, and their customers are back to putting on their greens again. And that's the reason we done that. I don't know if you knew this. Did you know we make an ultra greens that's even half the size of greens grade?
That's what I was going to say a while ago.
Oh, wow.
I was trying to find a picture of it.
What do you put that down with? Do you put that down with a salt shaker?
Yeah, exactly.
You can't apply it too much when it's windy. But yeah, it's the ultra greens is. So you said Pat Neindorf. So Pat come to the plant 2 summers ago, I believe. He come and visited 2 summers ago, and he was watching us run and watch the process. Well, he was watching the fines drop off the screener, and he picked up a handful of these fines, and he says, "Hey, you got to bag some of these." He says, "I think I can sell these." So we started catching some of our fines that normally just run back through and get rerun again. We started catching some of our fines, and he's been selling some ultra greens, but it is a little bit tricky to spread because it is light, it's tiny, but it's 60 SGM, but it's a neat product.
Now you go all the way up to, what do you call the big stuff?
We just call it oversized, but it's 400 SGN. 400 and SGN. Our local landscapers buy a lot of our 400 SGN because there's really nothing wrong with it. It's just a little bit bigger granules.
Yep. As long as you're not real mowing, you could use it.
Yeah, exactly.
But once you get a hold of some of that greens grade, and that's another thing. I know you make greens grade in 10-0-10. You make greens grade in 17-04. Is the greens grade also in 10-10-10?
11-11.
11-11's green grade.
Okay.
We have greens grade in everything.
Okay. I know the 11-11 works wonderful as a starter fertilizer. If anybody wanted to try that, that was the first thing I used from y'all, I think in 2019.
It could have been. Interesting enough, our distributor in Spokane, Washington, their golf courses are using 11-11. Pretty nice. Heavy. So what we did in the beginning is the 11-11 looks a little different. So we pulled a screen out and we mixed the greens grade and the fairway grade. And so if you buy a bag of 11-11 off Home Depot in an orange bag, it'll have greens grade and fairway grade mixed. It's just a blended mixture. And what we did was for home and garden and lawns, trees, shrubs, flowers, it grows beautiful flowers, works excellent on tomatoes, berries. And so your garden, it doesn't really matter. They're not as precise as like you guys are pretty hardcore. For the average guy like me, I just go spread my fertilizer, right? But anyway, this company in one of our distributors in Spokane, their golf courses come to us and said, we want a fairway grade and a greens grade in our 11-11. So we started separating it now. So we can do fairway grade and greens grade in 11-11. And we actually even sell a little bit of 11-11 ultra greens to some of the golf courses in Washington.
Oof. I know Miss Abigail, she owns she's a good friend of ours. She's a huge fan of the 11-11. Huge fan, and she uses it a lot as well. So I've heard nothing but great things on that. I haven't used it. That's probably one of the only ones that I haven't used, but I heard it's doing some work for sure.
Do you pull soil samples on your grass?
I do. Yeah, I do.
So does it call for some extra phosphate and potassium?
And not really.
Okay, then you probably don't need it. But let me tell you an interesting thing. You may want to try some on your grass and see what your response is. If your potassium levels are too high, your salt levels in your soil is too high, and it locks up the phosphate. A lot. So we actually farm. I think I mentioned this too. We farm too. So we grow. Let me give you a real good example of this. So here a few years ago, when I first met Ockert, we grow potatoes, and potatoes take lots of phosphate and lots of potash, right? A lot, yeah. And I mentioned we feed cattle, so we've got a little feedlot here. So we spread manure on our farm ground. So if you're like a natural fertilizer, an organic fertilizer, you're thinking more is better, right? So you spread lots of manure, and you spread manure heavy on your fields. Well, here a few years ago, we went to grow a crop of potatoes, and we pulled soil samples, and it said we had plenty of potash and plenty of phosphate, and they take a lot of P and K. And you're thinking, how can your soil? Of course, we haven't spudded it. We hadn't grew spuds in there for about 5 years, and we put manure on it and everything. So anyway, we spread our fertilizer, and we put a little bit of phosphate and potash on there anyway, right? Just because it's expensive to grow potatoes, you want to make sure you got a crop going. Well, these potatoes start growing, and then you pull petioles off the leaves. Well, guess what the petioles say? We're short phosphate and short potassium. So the soil sample says it's there, but it's not usable.
It's not available.
What happens when your salt levels, and that's the neat thing about ProPeat. It doesn't get locked up in your soil. The nutrients are bound to the carbon in the peat, so it won't get even the phosphate in there. If you take a 1111, it'll say bound. The nutrients say bound to that peat until the plant needs it. So even though your soil sample says you don't need it, who knows if it's locked up in the soil? And that's the thing. People are just discovering this, that it's locked up in the soil, and it can't absorb that. That's one thing Montana Grow does. Supposedly, that silica helps release locked up nutrients that are in the soil.
Yeah, actually, I was considering doing a plant tissue test this fall to kind of see what my soil test versus my plant tissue test rounds out. So
good idea.
Well, you guys heard it. You guys heard it from himself.
We got some big numbers going on here, so I want to get this started as much as we can. I had needed to rest my arms from typing so much. Had so many names entered into this, man.
Right, that's what happens when you got to type one-handed.
Oh, drunk long guy.
Hey, drunk long guy.
All right, so I'm going to share the screen here.
Come on, Olee.
All right, we have 45 people.
Nice.
Put in for this. So
right,
I see Nate's daddy.
We got ProPeat's logo there in the middle. Spice it up a little bit.
Saw you on the boat, Gary.
I am going to shuffle it 5 times, and then we'll do 2 giveaways right now, and then we'll do a couple more later on, and then finish it up with 1. How's that? All right. 1.
Yeah, you can't go too fast,
3, 4, 5. Oh, yeah, you got to spread the love out.
All right.
All right, here we go for the first bag of fertilizer, ProPeat fertilizer.
Olee. I guess go Hawks.
Hey,
nice.
Girls
Awesome.
Lawn.
Oh, look at that.
Congrats.
Nice.
Girls
Right.
Lawn.
Good job, girl.
Congrats. All right. Let's do one more, and then we'll get back to the good talk.
Olee. Man, 0 for 2.
Sorry, I took off.
Homestead.
Jeez.
No way.
That
Oh
guy.
my goodness.
He wins everything.
He wins everything.
Wow.
Man, my
Luckiest
best
guy
friend,
in the community right there.
That's
everybody.
insane.
Luckiest guy in the lawn care community.
That is
All right, so you guys
sucker.
message me on Instagram, and I'll get over to John. So those two guys message me your information, and let's get back to fertilizer talk.
All right, congrats,
so-
you two.
hey, real quick, are we gonna do a new? Are we gonna do a new wheel? Like throw that one out and new word, new wheel, or what are we gonna do?
Yep. That's what I say.
All right, you guys
Yes.
gonna be rough on me. I'm gonna have to keep typing.
All right, Brian.
But that's all right. We can do that. We can start over again. So, and plus this gives drunk lawn guy a few more sips, right? But let's figure out a word that he a fescue freak. I know. What else did he choose today?
Buck.
I also want to.
I mean, we can type "Go Hawks." I mean, I
Go
would not.
Hawks.
We could type spread it. And actually that comes to my next question.
Okay. Well,
I've always wondered how fertilizer companies that are granule come up with the spreader settings for the spreaders. I mean, are you guys testing them? Do you guys test each spreader, or do you go by prill size and just base it off what other competitors are recommending for their setting?
But let's pause that answer real quick. So everybody in live chat, type in spread it. To get your
I was kind of joking, but
hey, why not? It goes along with the theme tonight. So
There goes the flags on YouTube.
all right, here we go. Type it in.
Nice.
All right, John, go ahead.
Okay, so the
John, you can't laugh.
I forgot the question.
Look at the chat just go crazy.
Zach and Nate.
Yeah, baby, spread it.
Zach and Nate every time.
And well, since
So spreader settings he was asking about. So
Say it with a straight face next time.
okay.
Man, look at you guys.
I'm repping today, folks. Look at that.
Woo! Look at that guy.
Texas.
That's a good
Beautiful.
looking jacket right there.
It's 102 in Texas, and Lush has got a jacket on.
I want my grass that color.
Oh, we got emojis. We got spread it with emojis on here. Oh.
I don't think y'all have spreader settings, do you, John? Y'all mainly go off the pounds.
For the spreader settings,
Y'all mainly just. I think you give like a 200 pound to the acre recommendation.
we do. We recommend 200 pounds of the acre. And then what we did for spreader settings, and we get the question all the time, if anybody needs one, email us on the website, and we have kind of a recommendation for spreader settings. It doesn't have all the spreaders, but what we did is we went out, done some research on all the spreaders that we could find, and just put together a spreader chart to the best knowledge that we have, and that's what we have. So it's probably not perfect, but that's how we did it.
Yeah, because I use my 80-pound hopper when I'm servicing lawns, and man, I usually go by do 3 pounds per every 1,000. Man, it goes by super quick, so I'm always trying to calibrate. I'm always going low and low and low, and but it has to do with the walking and everything, but it's all different. I've been getting used to using the handheld spreader because they come out super quick. That green spread is awesome, man, to be honest. So
the greens grade does spread fast, but yeah, if anybody needs a recommendation, we have a little chart that we can email anybody that emails us, and we can send that out. It's not, like I say, it's not perfect because it's tough. There's hundreds of spreaders out there.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, and then everybody walks a different speed.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a tough thing. You just basically have to calibrate it yourself.
I think one story I'd like to hear or kind of talk about, I think it'd be interesting to everyone here, was Cody. I know you used some ProPeat earlier this year, and I know I believe you and John were talking, and what the NPK you were looking for, they didn't exactly have. So I know you guys got together and kind of came out with the recommendation to, hey, you know, homogeneous prill size and all that stuff, like you could actually come up with your own NPK. Like you guys, I mean, maybe you two can kind of bounce off each other and talk about that, but I think that'd be great for people to hear about.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. What?
That's a great question Nate asked, man. Very good question.
Oh, yeah. So I know at the beginning of the year, you know, I was still kind of up in the air with what fertilizer program I was going to go with. And, you know, just been seeing ProPeat around and, you know, obviously all of us talking about it and, you know, talking to Olee and, you know, getting John's contact information, reaching out to him. And he was just amazing getting back to me. And, you know, I didn't know you could do it, you know, and John even touched on it a little bit on here about having the greens grade and the regular, you know, prill size, whatever you want to call it, together, mixing it up together. I didn't know you could do that. So I did a little bit of work and, you know, I believe I sent John my soil test and, you know, he kind of gave me some recommendations on, you know, what was it? The 17, no, I'm lost on it, but the 7414 and the 1704, mixing that together and coming up with my new NPK, which is 10, 2.8, 11. So I can get my, you know, what I need for my nitrogen down. So that was fun trying to come up with that. So, but it's fun, it's exciting. And that was going to be my next question to John is, you know, I know you were kind of talking about spreader settings, but when you have two different prill sizes, as far as like, you know, those go, I mean, you obviously want, you know, the opening big enough for the, you know, the regular grade, but the greens grade is so tiny. But no, I was messing around with my Yard Star and, you know, getting out there with it. And I think I found, you know, a good setting for it. And, you know, it came out really well. And, you know, John, I appreciate you helping me out and, you know, doing all that stuff for me. But yeah, I'm super excited I went with ProPeat this year.
Yeah. And anybody, I don't think people realize they can do that, but that's what I recommended. Take the 1704, you got a higher on the nitrogen side, and then that 7414, you got the higher K, and then it has the sulfate of potash in it, and your iron, and just take a 5-gallon bucket, or if you got a wheelbarrow or something, dump a bag of each in it and blend it up together and mix about a 50-50 mix. And then you got the best of the both worlds right there.
Oh yeah,
nice, really nice blend.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what I did. I got some 5-gallon buckets and mixed them up, and have some great video on that as well. And that was fun to do, and I can't wait. I think it's this week. I go for my, and I believe we talked about we could even throw that down every 6 weeks or so. Am I correct on that?
You can, you know, ProPeat at 200 pounds the acre won't burn. You can put it on 400 and 500 pounds the acre, and so here in eastern Idaho we're at 5,000 feet elevation. We have summer 2 months out of the year basically, so we have a short growing season. But you can get by here with 2 applications a year. You can put one on in May, and then put another one on about. We started getting frosts around the middle of August again here.
Oh wow!
So 5th of August, you can put something with a higher K, like your 7414 down, or a 1358. Get a little bit of potash in there, and it gets your roots in good shape. 10010 is excellent for hot conditions. Helps your roots. That extra potash help that root get healthy and survive that heat. But you can get by with short growing season. You can get by with 2 applications. I've been having people come to me and say, well, you need a 4-step program like the competition does. And I said, put ProPeat down twice and go fishing twice. Sure, we'd love to sell you fertilizer, but just like one of you mentioned, you want to be environmentally friendly, and the less fertilizer you put down, the better off. Sure, we'd love to sell fertilizer, but with ProPeat, you don't need to. That's the beauty of it. Less does more. It goes a long ways.
Yep, definitely.
Mr. Lush, when does your frost typically set in? Like September?
Probably.
Yeah.
Man, that's it. We get a frost.
They had a
Yeah, I
pretty
was
bad
gonna
one
say
last
September.
February. Yeah.
Maybe November,
Mr.
December.
Mr. Lush is like frost. What's frost? What's this?
What
All right,
is
hey
that?
guys, let's do this next one real quick. But hey, I want to give a quick shout out. These snazzy hats. Some people are talking about those in the chat. So these are brand new from ProPeat. Want to thank John for getting those sent out to us. Some of us aren't wearing them, but they'll get there soon. These are some slick hats. And John, everybody in the chat says they want your jacket too. So if you guys can manufacture those jackets, I think you'll have some people buying some merch from you. So
Most definitely.
That's actually one of the next things we want to work on is get our website set up to where you can purchase some merchandise. So we're working on it.
Woohoo!
And
All
your
right,
website also has got some dealers and distributor locations, right?
Correct. Yes.
yeah, that's how I found my one guy here in Utah. I had to go on there and do that. All right, share my screen. We're going to do 2 more bags of fertilizer, and I'm not going to type names again, so I'll just save them for the last one here on the 5th one. But
Hey, real quick, John, did you fill your 25 hat giveaway that you guys were doing on Instagram?
I think it's getting fairly full, but I think
you want to hit that real quick?
and I don't know where she's at, but yeah, Mackenzie posted. So Mackenzie, that's our daughter. She takes care of our social media, the Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and on that. And she put a deal on there. I think it was yesterday. The first 25 people that post a picture of a ProPeat bag on their lawn will get a hat. So I don't know where she's at on that 25, but I think it's filling up pretty fast.
You guys are at ProPeat 1, right? Number ProPeat numeral 1
_1, I think.
Okay.
Yes, go give them a follow on Instagram. Everyone that's in the chat. I know we got what 67 watching right now. So if you're watching, you're not following ProPeat, get over to Instagram right now before Brian spins the wheel and give them a follow. Okay. So go check them out.
Seconds.
And then get back.
Plus, they're doing that giveaway that if you take a picture of a ProPeat bag on your lawn, that sends you out one of these hats. So they're doing some cool things over there on there. All right, so
Hey, take out Homestead.
Okay.
Yeah, I took Homestead. Hey, he tried to get back in. He typed that spread it word, and I said, "No way, you're not getting in on this." So I made Homestead sorry. You can only get one tonight. So
sorry, broski.
5 more times. One.
I don't know. Homestead might get something tonight. We'll see. Olee, I'm going to give you.
Homestead
Are you
might
ready?
get a couple wins here.
Yeah,
I'll wait
no.
for Olee.
You
Olee,
always
you
got
ready?
the cue, Nate. True yard hard.
Right.
Hey, yard hard.
Yard hard.
Yard hard.
That's what I got.
Yard hard. All right.
Okay, all right.
Window right
fine.
there, and we weren't even.
Take a drink.
Let's move
All right.
on quick.
Here's another one. This is for
Take
the
a
4th
drink.
bag.
These are going down quick.
Hey, that's pretty good.
And
All right.
Yes.
Weekend Warrior Line.
All right.
You guys message me on Instagram. Some of your information. I'll get over to
All right.
John.
Big wins.
And
So
then also
there's definitely a theme going on with all of our giveaways. Have you noticed that like anyone who's been a guest or won KOTG Lawn of the Week has won a giveaway somehow, some way? I swear every single person that's been a guest has won like the following week or the week after. That's crazy.
Yeah, those karma
And that's a
bonus
very
points,
good,
yeah.
and listen, that's a very good incentive for everybody to continue to tag KOTG Lawn of the Week on your
That is.
Instagram posts.
Yes, sir.
We're watching and we're looking.
Hey, while we're talking about KOTG Lawn of the Week, what do you say we get right into the winner?
We had some good entries this week. Another tough discussion amongst us to figure this out.
Definitely a hard.
Real good lawns out there.
We're loving
We
it.
beat our
Though.
brains over this one.
We don't mind the hard competition because you guys are obviously making some fire yards. But this week we finally decided on Homestead Lawn. Congratulations. He won some fertilizer and he won KOTG Lawn of the Week.
That's looking
Oh
thick.
man.
Look at that.
Warm season.
Warm season.
Florida.
First warm
Yeah.
season.
This is their time to shine, right? This is their little
Shine
period
out.
where they get the best results here.
We shine here.
That's probably the best St. Augustine I've ever seen.
Look at that edge, though.
I love you, David. I love you, David.
But in all honesty, his lawns look good for weeks. And, you know, and behind the scenes, Homestead, you've been in the discussion for probably every single week.
All of them. All of them.
we've
Yep.
you've
Bet he's been spoon feeding with some ProPeat.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so congratulations, KOTG Lawn of the Week winner, Homestead Lawns, and you got some ProPeat to throw down too. So
Yeah, what a night.
Be looking
I mean,
better.
give drunk lawn guy a couple days to recover from all this, and he'll initiate you into the club there, Homestead.
He just had a week. Drunk Lung Guy just took a week off. So he's primed
That
up.
was with water.
Drunk long guy was shotgunning bottles of water. I mean, I love that.
That was hilarious.
he already asked him if he's ready to join the club. So he's on top of it.
Yeah, he's ready to go.
Oh, Homestead's in the chat. So congratulations, Homestead.
Yeah, congratulations, my man.
But it's looking good. So anyways, well, let's get back to some ProPeat, man. I could listen to this stuff all night long.
Absolutely.
Yeah, me too.
John, just keep spitting knowledge. I mean, our viewers are loving it.
Hey, John.
Oh, hey,
actually
John, I gotta-
asked what ProPeat's salt index is.
Hmm.
You know that?
Oh, good question.
That's a great question.
What the salt index is?
Yeah.
I'll have to look that up. We
Okay.
do have a salt index. I haven't been asked that for maybe a couple of years. And we have tested that before, but I'd have to go back and see if I could find some results.
And did you already touch on the MOP versus or SOP?
That was gonna be my next question.
Okay.
Mhm.
No, but I can. So Brian said that somebody had typed in a question earlier today. And let's see, what was the question, Brian? Why are we using MOP instead of SOP?
Yep, that's it.
Okay. So the reason, and the reason most companies use MOP, Muriate of Potash, is because of expense. So sulfate of potash is very expensive. It's about raw potash, it's about 3 times what Muriate of Potash is. And so if you start putting a lot of sulfate of potash in, and you can see it on our cost. Like if you go to Home Depot, the 714s, it's a couple $3 more a bag than the rest of it, and that's the reason why. So the main reason people use MOP is because of cost. Now, if all of our users were like your group and your users, you're such hardcore lawn type people that you say, what's a couple bucks, right? A bag. If everybody was like that, it wouldn't be a big deal to use SOP in it. But you got to think about the whole general public. We're trying to please everyone. And so that's the reason. But the main reason is cost. Muriate of potash is a lot of cheap SOP.
But now
it runs, I don't know if you know how they make potash, but have you guys seen how they make potash? It's the craziest thing you ever seen.
Nope.
No.
So Brian's he's from Utah. He's flew out of Salt Lake Airport, flew over the plants. But the Great Salt Lake down there, what they do is they make big ponds and they suck water out of the Great Salt Lake and they'll fill these ponds. And then they'll put like blue food coloring in it and make them a dark color so the sun evaporates the water. And by the end of the summer down there, you have a brine about a foot or 18 inches deep. And they'll go in with big machines and they'll scoop up that brine and then they take it into the plant. And when they take it into the plant, this is the crazy thing, they use fish oil. There's a molecule in fish oil that makes salt and potash separate. And I can't remember which one goes which, but one goes up and one goes down. And that's how they get salt and potash to separate. So your table salt, road salt, everything that separates in there. and then the other one goes to potash for fertilizer.
Now,
And
is that just MOP that they're making?
Yes, and that's MOP, Olee. And then what happens is there's a company in Ogden, Utah, Compass Minerals is their name, and they make SOP. And then so they take MOP and then it runs through a process. And I've been to the plant several times, but I've never seen them do the process. But they put a sulfuric, I think they add sulfuric acid, and then it goes through a chemical process and it removes the salts out of there. So that's why sulfate of potash has a little bit of sulfur in it. So it's a, let's see, potash is a 0060, SOP is a 0050.
52.
Oh, 52, and then it has a little bit of sulfur in it. And
Yep.
that's the reason, that's why SOP has a little bit of sulfur, because they put a sulfuric acid in it and that makes a chemical reaction and it takes that salt out of it. And so that's why it's so expensive.
Ah.
But another thing on those two is, if you're using a, 1704 or something of that nature, that's a smaller percentage, SOP would be great there, but MOP at least is lower. You wouldn't want some type of stress product or something that's a high last number. That's Muriate of Potash. And that's one reason I like the 7414 so much, is you're getting SOP on that high number, that last number. In other words, you wouldn't want a 15 or a 20 or a 30 last number and it be all salt.
Good question. Yeah, good.
Yep, and that's true. You'll get a little bit higher salt index on your MOP.
Hey, John, I saw another question in the chat earlier, and we've had a little bit of discussion amongst ourselves about the kind of the sustainability of peat moss, since it's such a kind of a finite resource and takes so long to sits in the ground for what, like that, thousands of years as it's kind of turning into peat moss. Are there any sustainability issues with that ingredient?
No, it's interesting. So in peat, there's several different kinds of peat. I mentioned earlier we use a sphagnum peat, but there's actually sedge moss peat. We have sedge moss right here in Idaho, not very far from us. And the way it was explained to me is like sedge moss it's not as old as sphagnum peat, and then it has more like sagebrush and that type of stuff. You got to go back thousands of years when this. And then there's sphagnum, sage moss, and sedge moss, and I'll think another one. There's one in Montana, up by Kalispell, Montana. There's another peat bog, and we've tested the carbon on it, and it's fairly high too. But it's a little bit stringy, so it's hard to run through our hammer mill to get it to pulverize. But there's plenty of it. What's interesting, it seems like it goes by, if you go around the world, it kind of goes by a parallel where your peat bogs are and the different kinds of peat. But our peat comes from like the Edmonton, Alberta area. So if you go clear up through there and go across like Saskatchewan, Manitoba, there's a lot of peat bogs clear into Ontario. They're all in a line across there. And that's where the sphagnum peat comes from. Did that answer your question or yet?
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think that another question, people kind of think of peat moss, especially like the DIY community, when they're overseeding, they use it as like a top dressing over the seed. Do you get any kind of like water retention benefit with the peat moss in the ProPeat products?
Yes. So peat holds about, 10 times its own weight in water. And so ProPeat helps you a little bit with your water retention. It'll help a little bit in drought. If you have some dry areas, it'll help a little bit. It'll help hold your water.
Nice. And you don't see any kind of that that hydrophobic kind of aspect that it has, when you first put it out and before it kind of soaks up any water, the water kind of beads on top of it. You don't see any of that?
No, ProPeat breaks down pretty fast. You can spread ProPeat, and even a heavy dew will start breaking it down by the next morning. I was just going to say, you just reminded me of something else on peat. What I was going to say is that the neat thing about using peat moss in fertilizer or ProPeat is if you have sandy soils, it won't leach near as fast. So like a big environmental problem right now is phosphates leaching into the groundwater and things like that. ProPeat won't leach near as fast as other fertilizers because the organic matter of the peat helps hold it in the soil. So like if you're, especially like in Florida, there's all the golf courses down there built on sand. The NPK will really hold a lot longer in the soil. And that's why ProPeat lasts a lot longer than traditional fertilizer. It doesn't get washed out with water. You water your lawn and you just flush your fertilizer through. ProPeat will hang in there. It'll stick. You got some organic matter of the peat, and that's what makes it stick around.
Does it help with CECs?
Yes, it does.
Nice. That's good to know. That's very, very good.
So, and speaking of CECs, some parts like the Midwest have really high CEC soil already. Is that any kind of a concern?
No, like I say, when you go to change pH or change a CEC, you've got to have a lot of product.
Damn, look at Olee right now.
Hey.
Yeah. You got too hot with the jacket on or something. All right, anyways, nothing to see. I don't even know.
Where did I just see guys? Oh my god.
All right, anyways, so we'll go back to what we were talking about.
What y'all laughing at? Me?
If you're in the chat and you saw Olee get naked, type Olee. That's what we just want to see you type Olee. That's all we want to see.
We usually save that for the KOTG After Dark episodes.
Right.
Boys.
Jacket was doing its job, man. Not like that fertilizer, making things hot.
You encouraged me to go change. You guys know my love for fluorescent tank tops.
Ah, yeah.
I got a new one.
You don't like the green screen too much.
It's not pink.
It matches my Barenbrug hat.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Man, I lost my Barenbrug hat. Like I literally have been looking for 2 days. And
Probably lost it on the lake, Nate.
Oh, I cannot find it anywhere. Like I literally have like 60 hats in my closet. And I went through every single hat by hat looking for it. I can't find it anywhere. I'm pissed.
Hey, the chat is popping off with these Olee.
Quite a few Olee comments in there, so I think they liked it. But hey, talking about tank tops as well, guys, we're Keep Off the Grass Livecast. You can find us at KOTG.live. We're also on Instagram at keep.off.the.grass. We're throwing up some merch for you guys. We've got some people who got some shirts and some glasses and stuff. You can all find that at merch.kotg.live. So jump in and grab some, rep some merch for us. We appreciate it.
Olee.
Yes, sir.
Have you been hitting the gym with Lush?
And I passed Lush.
Oh.
He's showing you up, Lush.
Oh my god, man. That was so random.
Tacos and turf, ProPeat brothers, man. It's crazy. In there.
Putting that freak in fescue freak there, man.
Looking for the freak of the week. Big bad booty daddy. Papa Pump.
Pump, pump.
Oh, what a fun show.
Hey, we got one more bag to give away. Is that right?
We got one more bag to give away. You guys want to do that?
One more
sack.
sack.
Let's jump in there. Everybody can recover a little bit from that. I'm going to share my screen, and the first thing I'm going to share though is this is what John was talking about earlier. So for those that didn't write it down or didn't catch the spelling of this is that Fossil, PHOSUL.com. This is that more organic fertilizer.
I will look into that, and I can't wait for that product to come out, John. Like I said, I've been very into silica lately, and can't wait for this product. So yeah, definitely keep us posted on social media. Like I said, can't wait. I'm a huge fan.
We're making it now. It's available. I can send you some. You send me a message afterward, and I'll send you back down. And
Sounds good, brother.
try it. But what we're trying to do right now is we're gonna see if we can get that 25-pound bags on Home Depot to order
Oh.
the same way.
I will be sending you a message as well, John.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah,
Let me know where to send the money.
John, be careful saying that. You might have like 67 messages coming your way from all the viewers.
Okay. That's okay.
Right. Okay, so back to that. We got one more bag of fertilizer to hit our 5. So again, awesome giveaway, John. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Our viewers are totally excited. Obviously, we still have 65 people watching. This is awesome.
Yep.
They're in it to win it, and they wanna know about ProPeat, want to get some. So this is awesome. We'll do. I'm not even gonna shuffle because it's already been shuffled. All right, here's our last one. Olee, ready?
Yep.
No.
He snuck it out.
Man, that was
a close one.
He's
right there.
close.
He got one a couple weeks ago, maybe last week.
Jason Troy. All right.
Cedar Rapids, Iowa, right there. Go Hawks.
All right.
Send me your information, Jason Troy, or give me on Instagram at Lawntism, and we'll get your information over to John.
I think Troy Turf's going to send that my way.
You go steal it from him.
Hey, John, you mentioned it a little earlier. What's the easiest way to find your products for DIYers?
So if you go to our website, we do have a link on there, find a distributor, and you can see if somebody's close by. We are working on getting in some more box stores, so it's a little easier. But homedepot.com, you can buy it online. UPS, we box it right here at our own plant. Ships pretty fast, goes right to your doorstep. And then also Winfield is doing some products online. So I think it's winfieldpro.com. And then Winfield Pro, I believe they will do some 50-pound bags. If you buy 3 or 4, if you got a big area to do, I think you can do 4 or 5 bags, 50-pounders in through Winfield.
Yeah, John, there was at least 1 or 2 people in the chat that were saying if they wanted to do like an acre plus, they were saying at Home Depot, I think is only the 25-pound bags. If somebody wanted to buy, in bulk, how would you suggest they go upon doing that?
So Olee approached me about this here a couple of weeks ago, but we will ship factory direct one pallet minimum. So on a pallet, it's 1 ton of fertilizer. You'll have 40 50-pound bags or 80 25-pound bags. But if you, Olee mentioned, we ought to put out to some people, if you can get a neighborhood put together, buy a pallet at a time, we'd ship a pallet at a time out there. And just email us, go to our website, find our email, and just email us directly and say, I'm interested in a pallet. I'll see what part of the country you're in. I think I can deliver. So here's the deal. In a pallet, I think I can deliver to most parts of the country for $35 a bag. That's 50s. Now in Home Depot, you're paying $35 for a 25.
Right. Yep.
But so you're getting it'll save you half the money. But I think I can.
Let's go.
Where a pallet at a time is about $35 a bag in a 50-pound bag.
And you can mix and match.
Yeah, we would mix and match a pallet if somebody wanted to do that with your friends and neighbors or however you want to do that. We could put.
Everybody needs to join.
Yeah, Nate, you gonna buy a pallet and throw me some? Appreciate it, man.
We're just gonna do Iowa State as a whole. We're just gonna buy a pallet for the state of Iowa. You got to drive. You got to drive
22 tons by truckload.
You got to drive to my house to pick it up.
So with that said, though, how many bags are we talking in a pallet?
40, 50 pounders.
40, 50 pounders. Yep. I just
now is triple 11 available in 50 pounds or just 25s?
Yeah, we can do it in 50s. And we're separating the 1111. You can get it in greens grade and fairway grade, the 240 SGN also.
Yes, sir. Yeah. See, some people like that 1-1-1 ratio.
It works well. And like I was talking about earlier, you can pull a soil sample and you don't know if it may say you have phosphate, but it might be locked up in your soil. The plant may not get it.
And then all you got to do, instead of just running at, full rate, back off. That plant's going to use NP and K all year. So you can back off and spoon feed. Just, give it a little.
Yeah, that 1111 would make a good starter fertilizer too.
Yep, that's I'll be getting a lot of messages on it as well. But John just clarified it might not be available. So spoon feed it, guys. Spoon feed it.
The old school people like that 1313 and like that 1111.
Right.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, and if I noticed on Home Depot too, if you do the kind of the opposite side of ordering a whole pallet, if you just order a bag or two from Home Depot and do the ship to store thing, I think they don't charge shipping that way if you do that, but you got to go pick it up at your store.
Hey Mark, I just confirmed with my wife she's willing to park in the driveway. If we get a pallet, we can put it in her parking spot in the garage.
To be fair, is that paid better for her driving on the lawn?
She's gonna park on your lawn, dude.
That's going backfire.
That'll prevent her from driving through the lawn again.
And
it's a win-win.
I really enjoy this show, guys. It's been one of my favorites so far. A lot of great info.
Absolutely.
One of the best companies that I have ever used. I'm a huge fan, and I'll continue to support you guys. Keep up doing the great work, John.
Yeah, really appreciate it. Learned a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of good feedback in the chat too. A lot of people were just loving eating up all the information that you were giving out.
Yeah.
So.
You're
awesome.
Take my shirt off again.
Thanks for having me on here. I enjoy sharing that. ProPeat's not just a fertilizer. I mean, there's some technology behind it, and then the other thing is, I don't think people realize how good it is. We have a lot of gardeners. A lot of people have berry patches and things like that. It just works excellent for raspberries and tomatoes and not just grass. It's good for trees, shrubs. It'll work on just about anything that needs nutrients.
It's clean, man. It's clean. It spreads well. And then the other thing that people need to learn about fertilizer is fillers.
Oh, yep. Good.
Whenever you go buy a bag of something, are you getting 13% of this and the rest of it's rocks, or are you getting some carbon, something that's usable? What's in the bag you're actually paying for?
Yeah, it's a good point.
Olee, what do you mean by filler? Because we still got 54 people watching. So I mean
there's
what do you mean by filler? What are we talking about?
And John might have to help me here, but you go buy a bag, say it's 13. So that bag's 100%, but in that bag you got 13% nitrogen, 13% phosphorus, 13% potassium. What else is in the bag? Is it lime? Is it gravel? Is it biosolids? What else is in that bag to reach 100%? So with John's product, you're getting, the ProPeat, you're getting your micronutrients. So that's what filler, as far as, I guess the best way to look at it is next time you're at Lowe's or something, you see a busted bag of 10-10-10, look at it. Tell me if it don't look like your driveway, like gravel.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the things that I've always looked at it, like box store fertilizers. I just look at it and I go, well, that looks like a whole bunch of rocks, but what is commonly used as a filler and fertilizer? And I guess why is it put in there, and what does it do, or what is it doing? What is it not doing?
Good question. Some of it, some of it could be gypsum, and like I say, some of it would be some type of lime or calcium product. So And it's also there so you can spread it, because you if it was 100% of each, you would definitely have to put like minimum down or you would burn everything. So you got to have some type of carrier.
Speaking of carrier, Olee, you just reminded me of something else that your listeners might be interested in, is the nitrogen source. I think you and I talked about that.
Yes, sir.
If you go to a box store, and a lot of our competition, they'll use urea, and we use ammonium sulfate for our nitrogen source. And
fan of AMS, huge fan.
yes, you take ammonium sulfate is 2100. Urea is a 46000. But in urea, you lose a lot of it when you spread it. It's not even available. Where ammonium sulfates are in ammonium state, so it's a lot more readily available to the plant.
And the other stuff, it's not really vapor. What's it? You lose the urea. I'm trying to think what they call that.
Yeah, volatility.
Yeah, if it doesn't rain right away, it's gone.
Correct. It volatilizes. Your volatilization of urea, I've heard it's up to like 40%. You'll lose it before it ever goes into the ground. So if you start with a 46, see, people,
you get 6%.
Yeah, people are, and I'm the same way. I mean, when you're doing something and you're making something, more is better, right? That's just the way we think. But when it comes to nitrogen, a 40, you look at a number, and we got that all the time. It's just a matter of education and educating people. You see a 4600 and they think, oh, well, how's that going to compete with a 1358? Well, I mentioned earlier in the show, University of Florida done studies on it, and with 2/3 of nitrogen, we outlasted all them, and that was what they were slow release ureas, 4600s, and because of that volatilization, you lose a lot of that.
Yeah, stretch out that release curve, right?
Right. Yep. And it's environmental. It's an eco-friendly product. It's environmentally friendly product. Like I mentioned before, less does a lot more for your lawn.
Yes, sir.
Nice.
So everybody go buy a pallet, split it with your buddies.
Talk to your neighbors down the street. See, all you need is 40.
And if anybody's in North Carolina that's near me, that if a couple people want to go together and get a pallet, I've got room to get it unloaded, and I've got my skid steer. I can get it unloaded, and all y'all can meet up in the parking lot and sling it in your trucks and go home. If that helps anybody.
Olee, there was somebody in the chat. CGM Woodworks I think he was talking about he's near you, so he may want to jump in on that.
Yeah, and for everybody else that doesn't have all those cool toys in an auto shop like Olee has all that room, you can find it at Home Depot. Sounds like a great option, and hopefully Menards here pretty soon too for all us Midwesterners.
Yeah, and then the other place, what was it? What was the other place called?
Winfield
Pro.
Yeah, John, once you mentioned Menards, the chat went crazy. So
yeah, save big money at Menards.
Yeah, if you could get the Menards,
the jingle
in there.
I might not be a native Midwesterner, but I've picked up all your little cues, all the Opes and the Menards and all that stuff. Yeah.
If you live in the Midwest, you save big money, and the jingle of Menards.
Yeah, poor drunk guy.
Go get some, everybody.
I do have one last question for me.
No, sir.
All right, John. Well, are you guys thinking of bringing over or creating a product that's liquid? For example, fertilizer, something like that.
Great question.
For example, like we have a lot of DIYers that are watching, and I think they're slowly moving towards to liquid fertilization. So is there something, is that where ProPeat has something in mind, or probably not thought about it, or
So at the first of the show, I mentioned Ocker Fiore, the inventor of this carbon fertilizer in South Africa. When I flew over to South Africa, I think it was in 2017, and checked out the plant, they had some big plastic tanks in there with paddles in them, and they were dropping, I think, like I mentioned earlier, I think he called it carbon complex over there, same thing as ProPeat in the US. And they were dropping it in big tanks with paddles in, stirring it. And they were I believe they were selling it to a potato farmer to put it on as liquid. But it took a while to break that down. He has told me that it can be done. They have done it over there. We have not tried it yet. Maybe in the future, we'll have some time to do some research and develop, make a liquid product. But it can be done. I've seen it. They have done it over there.
Nice.
That's great.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, congrats to Homestead Lawn, KOTG Lawn of the Week.
Yeah.
This week, make sure you guys get your submissions in. Hashtag KOTG Lawn of the Week. We look at them. We're talking about them all the week. So, I mean, get them in there.
All right, guys. Hey, great show. John, thank you. Thank you so much for
very much
coming on and chatting with us.
Spitting knowledge all night.
Yeah, that was awesome. Thank you.
Thanks,
go
everybody.
Go get some ProPeat.
Yep.
You're welcome.